Hey everyone, welcome to the first week of Making Relationships Work, the Life Group Study.
We're Todd and Carolyn Petka, founding pastors of Riverwood Church. And over the past year, we also launched something called the Relationship Rocket.
Yeah, it's a book and a set of resources designed to give couples a little more fuel, a little more spark in their relationship.
You know, when it comes to relationships, they can be really exciting and exhilarating.
Yeah, but they can also be exhausting and overwhelming.
They can add strength and confidence to our lives.
Or they can suck the life right out of you and leave you feeling hopeless.
But it doesn't have to be that way. God actually has a lot to say about how relationships work. And over the next 3 weeks, we're going to explore some of that together.
Hey, do you remember a couple of summers ago, I woke up with this sense that our marriage needed some work. And so I decided I was going to create a date. It wasn't going to be a normal date. It was going to be a special date.
If I remember, you even gave it a name. Things we've never done before.
It was brilliant. I mean, we're going to go for a romantic drive in our little bucket of bolts British vintage sports car down roads we had never traveled.
A stop at Starbucks for summer drinks we had never tried.
A new restaurant we'd never been to. Little conversation cards with questions that I had printed up.
And then we ran out of gas.
Like literally. I mean, the car stalled in the Starbucks drive-thru just as they were handing us our drinks.
I was so embarrassed. I jumped in the driver's seat as Todd pushed the car in front of a patio full of people out into rush hour traffic, a block to the gas station.
When we rolled to a stop in front of the gas pump, I said, "Baby, this is all part of the plan. Stuff we've never done before."
We laughed until an hour later, the car still wouldn't start.
Well, the rest of the date, it went something like this. I called my son-in-law to borrow his car. We canceled the romantic drive. The question cards fell flat. The service at the restaurant was slow and underwhelming. And the night ended with me and my son-in-law pushing the car while you were steering, 5 blocks, legs burning, sweat pouring, into the garage.
I remember I flopped into bed that night, grateful this special date had mercifully ended.
And over the next couple of weeks, I tried to fix the car. I mean, I poked around, I Googled things, I pretended I knew what I was doing.
And he didn't.
I didn't. And I worked on it on and off and for a few weeks. And I got so frustrated, I finally covered it up and said, I'll deal with it someday, just not today.
And that was 18 months ago, and our little Spitfire is still covered up and it's unfixed. You know, marriages are a lot like that car. They run out of fuel. Filters get clogged and blocked. Communication, connection, intimacy.
And so many couples, they end up covering it up. They say, I'll deal with it someday, just not today. But over the next few weeks, it's our hope that you will find the courage to uncover what might not be working and work together to see if you can get some fuel flowing and a spark reignited.
Now, we know that not everyone in Life Group World is married. Whether you are single, engaged, divorced, married for a short time or a long time, there are going to be relationship principles that are sure to be transferable. So although we'll be talking a lot about marriage, think about how these principles apply to your relationships.
You know, this past weekend, we studied a verse from Ephesians 5:21-25. It said this, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her.
Submitting to one another is one of those relationship rocket fuel principles that, when you learn to apply it, has the power to propel your relationship forward.
But submitting to one another is one side of a two-sided coin. And on the other side is a principle found in the New Testament book of Romans chapter 12, verse 10. And it says,
be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves.
To better understand this idea of honor, let me borrow your imagination for a minute. Imagine that you're clearing out your house, preparing for a move. You've got too much old stuff, and so you decide to have a garage sale. From an old closet, you pull out a wooden mask and you set it on a table, along with some lamps and framed art and crystal bowls, just hoping that somebody will buy them.
And a second-hand antique dealer poking around your garage sale offers you $165 for the African-looking wooden mask. You accept his offer, and after he leaves, you nudge your spouse saying, can you believe it? We made $165 on that dusty old mask. I would have sold it for half of that.
6 months later, While reading the newspaper, you discover that the antique dealer sold your mask for $4.6 million, a whopping 2.8 million percent profit. What do you think your reaction would be?
This true story, uncovered in a 2023 French newspaper, came to light when the couple who originally sold the mask, both now in their 80s, decided to sue the antique dealer.
In the end, the judge ruled in favor of the antique dealer, saying that the couple's inexcusable negligence and frivolity is what caused their troubles, as they failed to properly value the mask before selling it.
In the Old Testament, the ancient Hebrew word kavod, interpreted honor, literally means weighty. However, in the New Testament, the word in ancient Greek, time, also interpreted as honor, and appearing in Romans 12:10 means value by which the price is fixed.
In other words, to honor your spouse is to treat them as not common, but as a masterpiece of immeasurable worth. Not as a $165 garage sale relic, but as a $4.8 million treasure, rightly appreciating their value and treating them accordingly.
When you honor your spouse, you don't treat them like pillows to be tossed around without care, but rather like a box full of weighty, expensive Royal Copenhagen porcelain.
Our book, The Relationship Rocket Formula, is built around a formula that we call STP. Now, this formula isn't gimmicky or restrictive. In fact, think for a moment, what do formulas do?
Well, formulas make the complicated simple. They unlock mysteries. They take something that's overwhelming and give you a way forward.
A formula doesn't replace wisdom or effort. It focuses it like a laser.
In marriage, most couples don't fail from a lack of love. They fail from a lack of direction.
And a formula actually gives you direction, a repeatable way to build something strong, healthy, and lasting. And the best part of this STP formula is that it comes directly out of the life of Jesus.
If Jesus lived by formula, we're convinced STP would be it. And the S stands for selfless.
Listen to these verses out of Philippians 2:3. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Think of others as better than yourself. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. Though he was God, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave or a servant. He humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on the cross.
Jesus submitted and laid down his life for us. And he valued us so much. He honored us so much that he sacrificed himself for us. Jesus is the ultimate picture of what it means to live selfless.
40 years ago, when we were sitting in our premarital counseling at Bible college, our counselor gave us a challenge, and it sounded something like this.
As the two of you build a marriage over the next number of years, through the years of growing a career, building a home, having kids, and raising them.
Through the years of parenting teenagers and watching them leave home to build their own lives, and all the way into the grandparent years and beyond, never forget this challenge from Romans 12:10. Honor one another.
Live like Jesus. Lay down your life, your preferences, your ideas, your wishes, and your wants for one another.
She went on to say, if Carolyn honors you, make it your goal to out-honor her.
And she turned to me and she said, and when Todd recognizes and celebrates your true worth, make sure you outvalue him.
Now, have we always got this right?
No.
Not a chance. I can name 3 or 4 ways I failed in this just this last week. That's because submitting to one another and out-honoring one another is incredibly challenging.
Yeah, that gravitational pull of our own self-centeredness is ridiculously powerful. And yet the relationship rocket fuel God gives us is the ability to submit to one another, setting the other as a preference over all the competing options and out-honoring one another.
So let's wrap this up. What does this actually look like in real life?
Not theory, not Bible study answers, but Monday evening, after a long day when you're tired and hungry or even annoyed.
Out-honoring one another might look like choosing to listen. Really listen, instead of being distracted or defensive.
We out-honor one another when we choose curiosity instead of criticism. Ask really good questions, lovingly and with grace, digging down a little deeper with genuine curiosity.
Yeah, questions are our favorite. Questions like, what would feel honoring to you these days?
Or what is your perspective on this challenge we're facing?
What is one thing I'm not doing that you would like me to start doing?
What is one thing I am doing that you wish I would stop doing?
And then our favorite question, how is your soul today?
Yeah, we ask each other that every week. Honoring the other person in the relationship might mean laying down the need to be right or laying down a preference so that someone feels seen and valued.
Here's a powerful truth. Selflessness doesn't mean losing yourself. It means choosing love on purpose.
So over these next few weeks, we're going to keep unpacking this STP formula. Today, we briefly started with selflessness because every healthy relationship lifts off or crashes right there.
And here's our invitation to you right now. Don't try to fix everything. If some stuff feels clogged or you feel like you ran out of fuel or lost the spark in your relationship, don't try to overhaul the whole relationship. Just look for one small, intentional way to honor that person in your life.
One conversation, one act of kindness, one moment where you choose love over self.
Selflessness is the first ingredient to a strong marriage. Submitting to one another is the posture. Honoring one another is the practice.
And together, these two are pure rocket fuel to your relationship. And when fuel starts flowing and sparks start firing, relationships don't just survive, they begin to soar.
We're so glad that we get to do this journey together. And now the best part of Life Group, where we get to lean in, share ideas, wrestle with questions, and apply what we've been learning as we work together to make our relationships work.